Hello, beloveds. This is Sophia Mona Lisa of the Roseville Mystery School. And I've got a really lovely video journal for you today called Evidence for the Awakening of Humanity. I received this today, this morning, actually, when I was taking my morning walk. It's during my walks that I have a lot of communication with Sophia um, as an aspect of my higher self. She's also an aspect of your higher self. And this is the information that came through with to me during my walk as we were communing with each other. And I could feel kind of an urgency to share this information with you. Now, I stopped writing blog posts way back in, I think, October of 2022, when I switched over to making these video journals. And I actually haven't done a video journal other than the ones that I did yesterday for the past 4 months. So clearly things are revving up, things are getting going because I am being pushed to share more and more. And there will be another video coming out this week as well. So, as they say, when it rains, it pours, make hay while the sun's shining, whatever is the case. And so here we go. All right. What I'm going to do is I am going to talk to you about the outer luminary bodies, the ones that are considered transpersonal. They have a much longer orbit around the sun. They're more evolutionary in nature because they are transpersonal. So this is not regarding my usual work with Venus, Mars, and Mercury through their synodic cycles. And if you're new to my work, synodic cycle is just kind of an astro geek word that means dance with the sun. So when I say Venus synodic cycle, I'm talking about Venus's dance with the sun. Mars synodic cycle is Mars's dance with the sun. Mercury synodic cycle, Mercury's dance with the sun. So Venus, Mars, Mercury, the moon, these are all very personal, fast moving luminary bodies. I'm going to be looking today at like major spiritual themes for where the outer transpersonal luminary bodies have been traveling, the signs that they've been traveling through, so that you can get a feel for what that influence, that energetic influence that they have been making on humanity. At this time, I will go back a little bit with Jupiter, just to give you kind of a look at where Jupiter was and where he's taking us, because he has one of the faster transits through the signs. So that's what I'm going to be looking at. I also want to remind you, I look at the luminary bodies and their energetic frequencies from a completely different perspective than most people I know who work with astrology. I receive information from the luminary bodies themselves. And as I said, I receive information from my higher self, aspects of my higher self, Sophia, even Yeshua, Mary Magdalene, Mother Mary. I receive and I am communicating with them always. And so what I'm sharing will be different than what other people will likely share, and also want to emphasize specifically being tapped into Aquarian archetypes. I know a lot of people are not working with the Aquarian archetypes yet, And so this is why a lot of the information I'm sharing with you is going to be something that you haven't heard before, although more and more I am starting to hear little bits and pieces that are mirroring what I'm receiving and sharing out there. So if you have the ears to hear, the eyes to see, right, you will pick up on that. So I mentioned the Aquarian archetypes in the video that I did yesterday called March Madness. If you haven't seen it, I will put a link at the end for you. And if you have seen it, you may want to review that information again in light of everything that I'm going to share with you today. And these planetary movements through these signs are, in fact, the evidence that is showing us how humanity is awakening at this time in our history. So let's go ahead and dive into it. The first luminary body I'm going to look at with you is Uranus. And Uranus has been traveling through Taurus since May of 2018. Now, let me just say from the get-go, these planets, when they make shifts from one sign to another, they do have these retrograde motions. Well, they're dip their toes in for a little bit, go back, and then come in to stay. This is a usual process that happens through what we call a retrograde cycle. And when they do that, they're just gathering or allowing us the opportunity to gather the wisdom from those previous frequencies that we didn't tune into or didn't receive, or maybe even clarify some of that wisdom that we did receive before they move on for good. So you can see here that Uranus has been in Taurus for quite a while. Now, to help you understand what's happening with each luminary's body's influence on us, I'm giving you how long their orbit is and how long, again, it's an approximate, they stay in a sign. And of course, the longer that they stay in a sign, the longer the influence that they have on us. Now, Uranus has been in Taurus, as I said, since May of 2018. He will continue to be in Taurus until April of next year, 2026. He has an 84-year orbit. He spends approximately 7 years in each sign. But the theme of the frequencies that we are being evolved by while Uranus has been making this journey in Taurus has to do with humanity's breakthroughs in consciousness, right? The liberation of humanity at the global level, right? This is global collective consciousness. And we're having these breakthroughs in consciousness by experiencing more and more of ourselves as embodiments of love, as having more and more practices where we are staying more and more embodied within these sacred temples. Okay, the next planet that we're going to look at is Jupiter. Now, Jupiter was recently in Taurus with Uranus. So Jupiter amplifies anything that it comes into connection with. So, while Jupiter was in Taurus, this theme of having these breakthroughs in consciousness for humanity at the global level was really enhanced by Jupiter. Jupiter was in Taurus from May 16th, 2023 through May 25th of 2024. You will see that approximate year that he was in Taurus falls smack dab within this time frame of Uranus's journey through Taurus. So an absolute direct impact on us there. Okay. Now, Jupiter has an orbit of, we call it 12 years, right? 11.86, you know how to round up, right? We call it 12 years, which means that Jupiter spends approximately a year in each sign, right? There's 12 signs in the astrological wheel. Now, while Jupiter was in Taurus, the frequencies that we were being influenced by, that were helping us in our evolutionary unfolding, was knowing the truth that we are an embodiment of love and trusting that truth. So can you see how this theme absolutely ties in and supports the theme of Uranus in Taurus, right? By knowing this truth that we are embodiments of love, then as we have more and more practices where we're staying embodied and are experiencing ourselves as embodiments of love, we're having these breakthroughs, this liberation, right? In consciousness, radical, revolutionary breakthroughs in consciousness. Okay, when Jupiter left Taurus, he made his ingress into Gemini. This is where Jupiter is right now, in the sign of Gemini. Now, he will be here through June 9th of this year. Again, approximately a year, he will have been in these Gemini frequencies. Now, Jupiter as a luminary god, planet, is known as the guru, right? The great teacher, the cosmic guru, the cosmic teacher. And so here we are learning how to raise the frequency of our lower mind, that which I call the egoic mind, into the frequencies of the higher mind, that which I call the Christ mind. Okay, so that's what Jupiter has been helping us to do as we have been awakening through his sojourn in Gemini. And now, halfway through this year, right, June, he's going to make another move. And this time he's going to move into Cancer. So I'm kind of giving you a little bit of a foreshadowing of what you can expect, because it's going to influence a lot of this year. So here in Cancer, you know, again, Jupiter as the cosmic guru, as the ruler of Sagittarius, which is that seeker of truth, impact, is helping us to seek our own spiritual growth. Many people refer to this as our ascension, the awakening process as the ascension. And specifically in Cancer, what I am receiving is that he is assisting us in seeking our spiritual growth through the brand new Aquarian archetype for the sacred masculine, which was just birthed this January, right? Mars, as the luminary body, represents the sacred masculine. Mars started a whole new dance with the sun, synodic cycle in Cancer. And this archetype I received is the throne of Christ. This is all about the ascension technology that is within our sacred temples, within our physical bodies. Another reason why embodiment is so significant, because it's only through embodiment that we can utilize the throne of Christ technology that is within us. So if you're having any challenges with dissociating from being triggered, being fear-based, This is why you really would benefit from practicing embodiment. Okay, the next luminary body that I'm going to look at is Neptune. Now, Neptune has been in its own playground of Pisces since 2018, and it's going to stay here until April of 2026. And as a caveat, if you saw my March Madness video yesterday, I mentioned that Neptune on March 30th, the end of this month, is going to start making that ingress into Aries, dipping his toes into the Aries energies, and then he will come back into Pisces to finish out this journey in Pisces, which will be complete next April. So I will look at Neptune in Aries in a slide further on. So look at Neptune. He has a 164.79 year orbit. Okay, we can round that up, 165-year orbit. So what that means is that he spends approximately 13 years in each sign. So you can see that he has a tremendous influence on each new generation that shows up on the planet from one decade to the next. I myself was born when Neptune was in Scorpio. So I've been experiencing some activations with Neptune's sojourn through Pisces. Pisces being a water element sign, Scorpio also being a water element sign. And so these water elements definitely have to do with feeling. What is it that you are feeling within your body as your emotional guidance system, right? With Neptune in Pisces, the overarching theme here has really been focused on feeling our own connection to our divine selves. The Gospel of Mary Magdalene makes it clear we are human and divine. We are both. And so it is through this embodiment that we can perceive and experience our own divinity. And that's why it's been really important as Neptune's been going through Pisces to help us feel what that connection is. This is a connection that goes beyond the lower egoic mind. This is a feeling that you can only ascertain when you turn your attention into your inner realm where the awareness of who you are resides. Now, in my work, I call the divine self the I am presence. So you will see that frequently in my work, that I will parenthetically clarify that I am speaking to that I am presence, that each of us are a fractal of. So this has been a delicious experience of Neptune moving through Pisces for me personally. Now, in conjunction with Neptune moving through Pisces, we have been having the planetary body Saturnia making a journey through Pisces as well. Now, I know a lot of people refer to this luminary body as Saturn. And I've spoken to this quite a bit. Let me clarify again. At the winter solstice of 2018, I received the lost wisdom that the luminary body known as Saturn is really known as Saturnia. She is one of the goddesses that was usurped by the patriarchy and had a name change from Saturnia to Saturn. So I have been very instrumental in my work in restoring Saturnia's place in the realm of the sacred feminine. Now, she has been in Pisces since March of 2023. She will continue to be in Pisces until February of 2026. Remember, Neptune will be completing his journey through Pisces in April of 2026. She will be completing her journey 2 months prior. So they will be in Aries together. And in fact, just like I said, Neptune is making that first dip of his toes into the Aries frequencies March 30th this month. Saturnia is also going to be following suit with a dip of her toes in those Aries frequency. And that'll happen on May 24th this year. She will stay there until September 1st and then come back into Pisces and complete her journey in Pisces, as I said, February next year. Now, she has a 29.5-year orbit. So she is in a sign for about 2 to 2.5 years. If you are familiar with Barbara Handclough, let me highly recommend her book, The Rising of Kundalini, where she looks at Saturnia, she looks at Uranus, she also looks at Chiron, whom we're going to visit on the next slide, in terms of these major evolutionary mile markers in your journey through this life stream. So every 29 years or so, it might be 28, it might be 30, right? Because she's in a sign for 2 to 2.5 years, you will have what's known as a Saturnia return. I myself have had 2 Saturnia returns. These are significant moments in your evolution where you definitely want to tap in and find out how you're being evolved and prepared for this next stage of your life. So if you're, let's say, 29 years old, when you have your first Saturnia return, you're going to be prepared for the next 29 years of your life. Where are you going between now and the age of 54? This is something you may very likely like to be aware of so you can consciously engage it and be empowered by it. So, Jupiter that I spoke to earlier, every 12 years, a Jupiter return. Okay. I myself have had 5 Jupiter returns each time. Very, very empowering. So I'm just kind of throwing that in. Wasn't anticipating sharing that, but I've been inspired to do so. Okay. What is this spiritual influence of Saturnia in Pisces? Because Saturnia, as Saturn, gets a really bad rap. And that bad rap comes from the patriarchy, right? Anything to do with Saturn is hard. It feels like you're trying to move a boulder up the mountain, right? It's very limiting and restrictive, and you're going to bump into all kinds of authoritarian issues. Baloney. Baloney. She is a sovereignty goddess. Can you understand why the patriarchy usurped her identity? She helps you to be a master. She helps you to birth, to manifest your creation, your heart's desires, right? The patriarchy does not want you to know that you have those powers or how to what those abilities are. So let's just clear the slate right now in terms of whatever reaction you may be having to Saturnia as I'm speaking to her with this slide. So again, what has she been helping us with in Pisces? She has been helping us to master the spiritual practice of connecting with our divine self, our I am presence. This is important. Spiritual practice, spiritual discipline, another realm that Saturnia reaches into, are important if you are going to consciously engage your divine self and allow the divine will to work through you, to move through you. So can you see how, again, just like Jupiter was supporting Uranus's mission, Saturnia in Pisces is supporting Neptune's mission. How can we feel our connection with our inner divine presence if we don't practice having a connection with our inner divine presence? Okay, so this is something that I am very well versed in, and I will speak to again towards the end of this video journal. So now let's look at Chiron in Pisces. He has been in, Chiron in Aries. He has been in Aries since April 17th of 2018, and he will be here until next June 19th, 2026. Look at these shifts that are happening next month, right? Saturnia into Aries, Neptune into Aries, Jupiter into Cancer. Chiron will go from Aries into Taurus. All of this happening right in the first half of 2026. This is why you need to be aware of the evidence of how we are awakening at this time in humanity's existence on our planet. Now, Chiron's orbit is 50.65 years. You could round that up to 51 years. Chiron, as a luminary body, is not a planet. Chiron is an asteroid. So let me just clarify that. And I love working with Chiron because he is known as the cosmic shaman. He brings us our shamanic medicine that facilitates our evolutionary expansion. What is evolutionary expansion? The raising of your frequency, right? Doesn't that kind of sound like your ascension process, right? So I love Chiron. I know, again, he gets a bad rap as being the wounded healer in mythology. And I am inviting you to remember that we are working with Aquarian energies. All right. Now, Chiron in Aries, what is this about? This is Chiron as the cosmic shaman, assisting us, supporting us in receiving a brand new shamanic medicine. And this shamanic medicine is all about self-love, not the kind of narcissistic self-love of the lower S, right? Self-love, the altruistic, pure love of the divine self, the capital S love, okay? And it's important for us to receive this medicine of self-love for many reasons. One of which is that by being able to have this medicine of self-love, the love of our divine self, we can know ourselves as embodiments of love. We can know ourselves as being loved, being worthy of that love by our divine selves, we can know ourselves as being the beloved of our divine self, right? Yeshua and Mary Magdalene, they were beloveds for each other. Sophia, Christ, they are beloveds for each other, right? The feminine Christ, the masculine Christ. We also are the beloved. And until we have this medicine of self-love with the capital S, we cannot come into conscious, equal partnership with our divine self, our I am presence. Because the whole purpose for being here embodied on this planet is to know the truth of who we are and to experience the truth of who we are as divine beings. Okay, so Chiron in Aries at this time has been huge in terms of the awakening of humanity. Let me just share with you in terms of this concept of Aquarian energies versus Piscean energies, Aquarian archetypes versus Piscean archetypes, okay? The last time Chiron was in Aries was when Martin Luther King Jr. was on our planet. What happened? He was assassinated. That's because the Aryan archetype under the Piscean frequencies is a warring archetype. This is the shift that has happened on this planet, so that as Chiron has been moving through Aries this time, we're receiving the Aquarian influence, receiving that shamanic medicine of self-love. All right, I've mentioned several times already that Neptune and Saturn are getting ready to make their first little dip into the frequencies of Aries very quickly coming up in our linear timeline. So let's shift gears and take a look at them again and what we will be experiencing a taste of when they do that. When Neptune makes its dip into Aries, we are going to get a taste of knowing our will as being fully aligned with divine will. What did Yeshua say? Let my will be thy will. And so what happens in our awakening process, the egoic mind no longer has the reins of the horse. It is no longer driving the car. The divine self is now in charge. And when the divine self starts to navigate us, the lower will becomes attuned to, aligned with the higher divine will. They become one. And when they are one, then what happens is we are allowing divine will to come through us and inspire us and guide us in our action, so that everything that we are doing now is coming from this place of the divine will. It's no longer coming from the egoic self. This is huge. Now, as I said, this should say March 30th. I apologize for that typo. March 30th is when Neptune will be dipping his toes into Aries. He will come back into Pisces, but then he will go into Aries to stay until March of 2039. And so, you know, as I said, these Neptune journeys happen for approximately 13 to 14 years in each sign. So this is going to be a huge paradigm shift when Neptune moves into Aries to stay. All right, let's look at the goddess Saturnia and what's going to happen when she makes this incredible paradigm shift into the Aries frequencies. And we're going to get a little taste of it, right? Come May, when she dips her toes in, we'll get that taste. And I think if I recall from the previous slide, I said that's until September 1st. But what we will be doing, remember, she's all about mastery, right? As a sovereignty goddess, she is helping us to master ourselves. So she is going to help us to master the spiritual practice of allowing our divine will to manifest through us and into our world and reality. So you are going to be creating in complete alignment with your authentic self. Saturnia, also the goddess, as a sovereignty goddess, the goddess of being your authentic self, okay? Because that takes mastery. All right. So she is going to help us with being a spiritual master as an embodiment of our I am presence. All right. So again, these shifts by Neptune and Saturnia into Aries, you're going to see an absolute shift from next year, right? Middle of 2026 forward, you're going to be starting to witness the manifestation on the world stage of these shifts. Okay. Last but not least, let's talk about Pluto in Aquarius. Now, Pluto just recently this year made his transit into Aquarius to stay. Last year, we had some tastes of it. Over 2024, we had a couple of tastes of Pluto in Aquarius, but it was maybe the end of 2024, definitely by January 2025 this year, where now Pluto is in Aquarius to stay. You see here that he will be in Aquarius for from 2043 to about 2044. He has one of the longest orbits of the luminary bodies in our solar system, 248 years, right? That's why it takes a long time to have a Pluto return, okay? You're not going to live to see a Pluto return. At least I don't think so. But we did recently, and I talked about it. You can go back to my playlist and find the videos where I talked about the Pluto return for the United States of America. So definitely nations will have Pluto returns, and these Pluto returns will impact the consciousness. They will transform the consciousness of the nation. Okay. Now, Pluto, because it's so slow moving, and also because it has a very unusual orbit, it can spend anywhere from 12 years to 32 years in a sign. You see here that Pluto will be in Aquarius for about 20 years. And if I recall correctly, I think his movement through Capricorn was also about 20 years. So that's a variable. What it does do for us in terms of how long Pluto stays in a sign is it helps us identify what I call tribal generations. So the new tribe being birthed onto the planet now is the Aquarian tribe. I was born at the time that Pluto was going through Virgo, so I'm a part of the Virgo tribe. I have done a lot of work on each of these tribes and what the overarching theme of their soul mission is in terms of why they chose to come onto the planet at the time that Pluto was in those signs, right? To join that tribe. So you can find that work again in a playlist on my YouTube channel. I do have a little pamphlet about that lists information about that. If you're curious about that, you can reach out to me. All right. So what is the awakening influence for humanity as Pluto makes this long 20-year journey through Aquarius? And remember, we're just at the very beginning, first few steps of this journey. Okay. What's going to happen is that Pluto is going to resurrect Christ consciousness on our planet. That's what Pluto does. I'm sure you've heard the analogy of the phoenix rising from the ashes. And so if you're at all familiar with the tarot, the Tower card, where the tower is on fire and burning to the ground, is very much a Pluto influence. And then from the ashes, the phoenix rises, something more highly evolved rises from those ashes. It regenerates itself from the ashes. This is a highly alchemical process, which is another reason why alchemy is such a huge part of the work that we do through the Rosewheel Mystery School. So Pluto is in the process of alchemizing humanity. Your attention may be on events where you're seeing the burning of the tower, okay? Do not allow those events to distract you. Be aware that that is a natural part of the process. We call that calcination, right? Calcination is the first step of alchemy. You're going to see on the world stage, because Aquarius represents the world stage, for the collective of humanity, because Aquarius represents the collective consciousness of humanity, you're going to be seeing the burning of the old paradigm, right? The destruction of the old paradigm turning to ashes. Do not allow yourself to get emotionally hooked. Do not allow yourself to get mentally hooked. If you do, you're giving your power away. You want to remain sovereign. Be aware and keep your attention on your own reality, your own world. Okay. So as Pluto is alchemizing humanity into the Christ race, we talked about the Christ race before, that is who we were and who we were intended to be until the dark forces came in and hijacked humanity for their own purposes. That's a whole other story, right? We're being alchemized to come back to the purpose of alchemy is to obtain the philosopher's stone, right? To turn lead into gold, to come back into being our Christ race. And so I see our Christ race as our ascended master selves being able to walk on this planet. And when we are alchemized back into a global consciousness of Christ consciousness. And what is the Christ consciousness about? It's the consciousness of divine love. Whenever you see the word Christ, you can substitute pure love, divine love, unconditional love. When humanity has returned to that state of beingness as embodiments on this planet, then we can step into a galactic community. And again, that's a discussion for another day. What I would like to bring your awareness to right now, because we are still in March, and I did just release that March Madness video, which I will link at the end, is that through the Leo Divine Royalty Goddess journey that the Galactic New Earth Project has been working with, we have been incorporating the frequencies of the stars of the ancient constellations in our galaxy. Right now, here in March, we are being influenced by the frequencies of the stars in the constellation Pegasus. Now, for those who don't know who Pegasus is, he is a white-winged horse with a golden mane. And because Pegasus, being a white-winged horse, can soar into the skies, he represents for us transformed instinct, inspiration, and imagination. What does that ultimately mean? It means, dun, 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 the big theme, transformation through embodiment. You've got to stay in your body in order to have this kind of deep alchemical transformation. In the Gospel of Mary Magdalene, it tells us the deeper you go, the higher you go. It sounds like an oxymoron, but it is the truth. You've got to stay embodied to have this level of transformation. Now, every year at this time, March 13th to April 1st, humanity is receiving an influx of energies from 3 stars specifically in the Pegasus constellation, Alghanib, Markab, and Sheet. What this means, tying back to my March Madness video from yesterday, is that every alchemical event that was listed on the slide with the goddess holding the earth, every alchemical event of March, except for the very first 2, because those happened on March 1st. So that means 6 out of the 8 alchemical events happening this month are under the influence of Pegasus. And even Neptune's transit into Aries on March 30th, the day after the Pisces Divine Mother Goddess rises as morning star, is going to be under this influence of Pegasus and these 3 stars. This is huge, okay? Why am I bringing this into your awareness? Because I'm sharing with you the evidence of how humanity is being awakened. And so let's look a little closer at these 3 stars. All right. The light frequencies of Alghanib are going to enable you to transfer information from one subtle body to another through enhanced creative visualization, as well as other forms of visualization, for a more easily direct flow of energy and information within all the subtle bodies. If you understand that we are not just this sacred temple, that we are multi-dimensional beings, and that this sacred temple in and of itself has subtle bodies, the etheric body, the mental body, the emotional body, then you will understand why, as a multidimensional being, these frequencies coming in from Alghanib are going to be so important for us as we're going through this intense alchemical transmutation this month. The light frequencies of Markov enable you to strengthen your telepathic abilities. I'm not talking about, oh, now I'm psychic. No, there are spiritual gifts that turn on as a manifestation of raising your frequency. We call these spiritual gifts glamours when the egoic mind becomes attached to them, right? Now I'm psychic. Now I can channel. Please be mindful that you don't get trapped in the glamour of being able to all of a sudden realize that, whoa, I am tuned in and I am receiving information from something beyond the realm that I have been familiar with. Okay. So what it does is it helps your ability to tune in and receive from what's out there in the field, what's out there in the galaxy, is it brings it into greater focus and consciousness. This allows an enhanced ability to travel to remote locations with your astral body and exchange information easily with others at that location. Again, be mindful of the egoic attachment that is a glamour. This is not about remote viewing. Now, not only am I psychic, I'm also a remote viewer. No. In my work, when we started the Galactic New Earth Project, we were traveling through our subtle bodies to the locations on the planet where each of the 8 Venus temples are physically located, to be able to assist with the activation of them with the rose gold light codes of Sophia Christ. So there are real things that these spiritual gifts, as you raise your frequency, allow you to do, okay? Which is very different than the egoic attachment to the glamour of it, okay? Just want to clarify that again. Now, the light frequencies of Sheet enable you to have contact with higher level spiritual energies through the crown chakra. This is what's known as the portal of authority, right? So when you're getting what people call downloads, again, that's probably a glamour term, but you're getting inspiration. You're receiving inspiration from your higher self. You're receiving inspiration from your alignment with your divine will, okay? And so these frequencies will also help you be aware of, have a deeper awareness of your inner connection to our galaxy, the Milky Way galaxy, and all of the other beings that are living in this galaxy. This goes back to the concept that we are one. This is unity consciousness, okay? It's not a glamour of, now I'm receiving a message from the Pleiadians and I am the only mouthpiece for the Pleiadians. No. Okay. This is about having a oneness consciousness where you are able to communicate with the luminary bodies, the stars, and the other beings within our galaxy. Okay. This star's frequencies assist individuals who seek greater attunement to Source. What is Source? The mighty I am presence. That's what it is. Okay. So what's happening right now from March 13th through April 1st, where we are receiving these frequencies from these stars of Pegasus, are absolutely helping us with the alchemical process that's unfolding now through the Venus metamorphic underworld process, and is a highly potent transformation, transmutation. Okay. This is evidence of how humanity is being awakened at this time. All right. That's a lot of information to land on you. And some of you, if you're new to my channel, might be thinking, who is this broad? And, where is all this information coming from? So if you would like to know more about me and what my own personal journey of awakening has been about, I invite you to go to my website. There's a page, the About Me page. I give you a brief, believe me, it's brief synopsis of what's unfolded in this life for me and what I have experienced. And when you do that, you'll get a little pop-up message inviting you to subscribe to my newsletter. So I encourage you to subscribe. I don't sell my list. I've had my list for years and years and years. And you will receive updates about things that are unfolding as they evolve through the Rosewhill Mystery School. And it allows you to know that you are a part of a like-minded community. So you can join or subscribe is probably the better word to my newsletter from my website. I absolutely invite you to go to this About Me page to learn a little bit more about who I am and how I came to be sharing this information with you. Now, I will give you a little kind of heads up that on this page, there is a video that I just published today that, and it's brief, that explains the birth of this mystery school, how that all came about. So I encourage you to watch that video. I will put a link to it at the end as well, because as I look back to what was unfolding, I mean, the inspiration, Rosewhill, happened during a Leo goddess. If you are a Leo goddess, then we are in the midst of completing a whole nother Leo goddess journey. You would be having a Venus return. This has been 8 years. 8 years ago that I received the cosmic seed for this mystery school. So that's, being able to look back over time and recognize the influences that were coming in that you weren't aware of, right? Because you couldn't see the forest for the trees, but now you can see the forest is really thrilling for me. So before I go, I have some final tips and takeaways regarding everything that I have shared with you today. And the intent is that these tips and takeaways will help you to consciously engage what I've been discussing through this video journal. The first thing that I feel is the most important thing is, if you do not already have a practice of connecting with your divine self, right? Your I am presence, you may know it as your inner flame, right? Which is in your Christ heart. A lot of people point to the heart chakra. Yes, it is a gateway to the higher octave heart chakra in our crystalline body, which is the Christ heart. The Christ heart is the holy of holies of the heart chakra. And it's in that holy of holies that the sun, S-U-N, of who you are as an embodiment of divine love dwells. I encourage you, begin a practice while Saturnia is still in Pisces of connecting with that divine self daily. I have talked about this in previous videos. I've given directions on how to do this. And so you can go back and find that work, or if you're curious about it and you can't find it, you can email me and I'll help you find it. If you're going to do this practice, I encourage you to hold yourself accountable. Accountability is another practice of Saturnia as the goddess of the Capricorn playground. There are many, many ways that you can hold yourself accountable. This image is my example of how I am holding myself accountable. So I just created a little chart. I set an intention. I will do this 5 times a day for at least 10 minutes. And I put down the left side the 5 times during the day when I intend to do this. This chart is for a week, starting Sunday, going through Saturday. Then I will print a new chart for the next week. And they didn't have little gold stars at the Dollar General, but they had these really groovy galactic stickers. So every time I do my connection with my Christ heart and I allow myself for 10 minutes to feel and know the presence of the divine love that I am, I put a little sticker on my chart. Now, I just started this specific practice. There have been other practices. This is my new practice. Let me tell you, this is powerful. I am on day 3. Let me tell you what I am tangibly experiencing from this practice. First of all, what I know and am aware of is that this Christ heart, the Holy of Holies, where this bright sun of the divine love that I am resides, is highly magnetic. So as you start to bring your attention to the awareness of that love that you are, by day 3, it has received a momentum where you are being magnetized, you are being called back to this space. So taking 5 times a day to do this, yes, it's a part of the practice. And what I'm experiencing is that between each of these times, I am automatically being called back to keep my awareness there while I'm doing simple things like making my coffee in the morning. Where is my attention? It's not outside of me focused on the coffee making. It's on the inside in my Holy of Holies. This is a very highly magnetic process that once you begin, it draws you deeper and more frequently back to it. The other thing that I experienced today, okay, this is day 3, right? Day 3. So in 3 days, if you do this practice the way I am recommending, you should very likely, like me, start to experience this as well. What I came to know for sure, right? This is wisdom. This is divine wisdom that comes from Sophia, Gnosis, is that whatever I'm seeing outside of me, so I wake up and I see my little poodle's face there next to me on the pillow, and she's looking at me adoringly, right? I am not relating to her as my poodle outside of me. I am aware, right? The awareness of who I am is aware that that adoration and cherishment that I am receiving from her is simply mirroring back to me the adoration that the divine love that I am has for me. And more of my experiences walking around today have been these experiences of, oh my goddess, I see these squirrels playing. Well, it's not about the squirrels playing, being outside of me. It's about, wow, the awareness of who I am as an embodiment of love is mirroring to me the playfulness of who I am as love. When I saw the Sandhill Crane Colts out with their parents that are absolutely adorable, again, it wasn't separate from me. It was my awareness saying, wow, those Sandhill Crane Colts are reflecting back to me the purity, the innocence of the love that I am. And so you will start to have, as I am having, more and more tangible experience of how the divine love that you are is flowing into your world, showing up into your world. Everything, we've heard this time and time again. What's in your reality is a mirror for who you are. Is it a mirror of what your egoic mind believes? Or is it a mirror of the truth of who you are? And I am telling you, if you will practice daily connecting with your divine self, a minimum of 5 times a day, not 3 times a day, not once a day, a minimum of 5 times a day, you will begin to have these tangible experiences of your own divinity, your own embodiment of love. In the Gospel of Mary Magdalene, it tells us that 7 times a day she was lifted up into the angelic realm. Let me tell you, beloveds, she wasn't physically lifted up into the heavens by angels. No, she was connecting with the presence of the divine love that she was, that she is, that we all are. And she was experiencing the ecstasy of the love. She was experiencing the bliss of the love. She was experiencing the joy of the love. And you too will have these experiences if you follow this practice for a minimum of 5 days. My friend Karen reminded me the other day about, the old adage, if you do something for 21 days, it becomes a habit. Well, use your divine will to start this practice and hold yourself accountable. The next thing that I would like to encourage you to do is to make peace with everything showing up in your reality that is triggering you, right? That is making you mad, is making you frustrated, is making you exhausted, that is stressing you out. You must, and Yeshua told me this. He told me, you must make peace with the dark forces. You must. We know they're there, right? We call them the elite, the powers that be, the powers that were, whatever word you have for them. You must, in your own field of consciousness, make peace with them. Otherwise, you are giving your power away to them. And when you give your power away, you are not standing in your sovereignty. So when you are able to make peace with these things that are showing up in your reality, then you can practice authentic, not mental, right? Authentic self-forgiveness, where you feel the truth of having forgiven yourself for creating that in your reality. Because at any time, we are all both human and divine. Our human selves are doing the best that we can with what we know. And so we must always, always, always let ourselves off the hook first, every opportunity that we get. So this is something else that I'm encouraging to practice. The next thing, again, mind-blowing, paradigm shifting is to excavate. Think of yourself as an archaeologist. Put on your cap, get out your tools. Excavate the false beliefs and mind control programs that are embedded in your subconscious mind that have been sabotaging you without your awareness. And let me tell you, I am here to say, I don't care how spiritual or awakened you think you are going to discover false beliefs and mind control programs that are running you. Now, the book that I recommend to help you with this excavation work is written by R.J. Spina, and it's called Change Your Mind. So read at least the first 4 chapters, because in the first 4 chapters, you're going to learn about what he calls the notebook exercise that you do over 2 weeks to excavate these false beliefs and mind control programs. And let me tell you, it is mind-blowing. It creates a paradigm shift within your external reality. Now, beloveds, these are 3 powerful things that I am inviting you to do for yourself. I'm inviting you to do them because I've done them myself. I know the power of them. I've had the tangible experience of the power of doing them. I would never ask you or invite you to do something that I myself would not do. Okay, so please take these recommendations seriously if you are serious about raising your frequency and changing your reality. Okay. If you would like to dive deeper into your self-discovery, you can do that by engaging the programs that I offer through the Rosewell Mystery School. So I've got Sacred Feminine classes. They're called the Pisces Goddess classes. I've got 2 mentorship programs. These were both inspired by Sophia, the Christ Heart Mentorship Program and the Sophia Christ Mentorship Program. I will put links to those in the description box below so that you can get more information about them. Now, if you look at these programs or if you have any questions about anything I've shared in this video or the March Madness video, feel free, beloveds. I promise you, feel free to email me and schedule a free 20-minute Zoom meeting. The Zoom meetings are not to hear about your sad story. I'm not interested. Anybody can come up with a sad story. That's your egoic mind. I'm interested in your liberation from your egoic mind. So these free 20-minute meetings are about clarifying any questions you may have about my programs that you may be considering partaking in, or any of the information that I've shared in today's video and even yesterday's March Madness video. So those are my final tips and takeaways. I hope that you will take advantage of them. And if you stayed with me to this point, brava you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I feel like you are a kindred spirit. And these are all of the ways in which you can contact me and access my work. And I look forward to seeing you soon. Take care, beloveds. Bye-bye.
You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of